On 11 p.m. on November 2nd, 2020, an older man named Michael stood in his backyard hanging damp clothes on a clothesline. Michael and his 83-year-old wife, Bella, lived on a quiet street in the small city of Belgium. And usually their days were filled with household chores and visits from their kids. But over the last few months, Michael had started to spend a lot more time taking care of his wife because she had recently been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia that causes memory loss and confusion, and so Bella needed help remembering to eat or take her medication on time, and sometimes she would just wander off without telling Michael, and Michael would have to look for her and bring her back home. Watching his wife struggle with this disease was absolutely heartbreaking, and so he did everything to make her life to make as comfortable and happy as he possibly could. And so before he had come to hang up the laundry, he made sure to set his wife up in front of the TV with a nice lunch so she could eat and watch her favorite show. So Mitchell hung up the last piece of clothing and then picked up the empty laundry basket and headed back towards the house. When he went inside, he expected to see his wife still sitting on the couch watching TV, but she was not there anymore. Michael immediately began calling out his wife's name, but she did not call back, and then he searched the whole house. He could not find her, and so he started to panic. He went outside. He searched the outside of the house. She was not there. He even knocked on some neighbors' doors, but they had not seen her. And so at his point, Michael was very scared given the fact that his wife had Alzheimer's and could easily wander off and put herself in a very dangerous situation without even knowing. And so instead of waiting any longer to just hope she showed up again, he picked up the phone and called the police. Less than an hour later, Michael stood outside of his house looking at helicopters flying overhead, and he knew at least half a dozen officers were spread out around the neighborhood knocking on neighbors' doors. There were canine units searching the surrounding area. This huge search was all for Bella. Michael was glad to see that clearly the police had taken the search very seriously, and so he was confident that they would find his wife, and hopefully she would be okay. But the hours kept ticking by, and as the sun began to go down there, still was no sign of Bella. A police officer told Michael that they would keep on investing and hopefully find his wife as soon as possible, but over the next few days and weeks, Bella did not turn up, and months then turned into 2 full years that nobody had seen Bella. By that point, Michael had basically resigned himself to the fact that very likely would die without ever figuring out what happened to his wife. But then one day in early October of 2022, so 2 years after Bella went missing, one of Michael's neighbors was at home on the particular website. As they were scrolling through this website, they happened upon an image. As soon as they saw it, they froze, because this neighbor was very well aware of the fact that Bella had gone missing and nobody had found her. But now they are seeing this image on this website. Basically gives away what happened to her, and so totally shocked that they had even found this image. And the neighbor screenshotted it, brought it to the police. So it would turn out that neighbor was at Google Street View. And so happened on the exact day Bella went missing in 2020, there happened to be a Google car driving down the road that captured a picture of her walking across the street away from her home. And on the right side, Michael was in the backyard hanging up laundry on the clothesline. And so the police, after getting this image, they basically followed the projected route Bella was on, which basically being straight across the road. And they found that across the street was a steep hill that down to this thick bramble bush. And inside of that bramble bush, Bella was inside and deceases, and so very likely Bella, in a confused state, walked straight across the street and then fell down that hill and got trapped at the bottom inside of that bramble bush and could not move. So when that huge search for her was going on, very likely she was just trapped down there, but did not understand what's going on, could not necessarily yell up to communicate with anybody, and so she stayed down there and died.